Hi, class. I will be speaking about stakeholder management. Stakeholder management is basically managing all the expectations of all the stakeholders in the project, identified in the project plan. Again, it is important to note that everyone isn't a stakeholder, and everything doesn't involve stakeholder engagement and involvement. And so everything can be very overwhelming involving these third party people that support your project, but it is solely up to the project manager to keep things documented and handled up to date and to relay accurate information to the stakeholders at all times throughout the project. So stakeholder management involves documenting the stakeholders by name, and it's important to know them by name, understand the organization they're representing and what's important to them. So project managers may interview them in person and virtually. It's better to do that to get to know them, their assumptions, the concerns, issues they have for the project, and what they value for the project. So then the project manager should inform the project team about the stakeholders. So the project team could have more synergy and motivation towards their work that they do and know who they're working for. Then next, it would be wise to set up a process for change management processes that are thorough, and processes of reporting types to get feedback back to the actual stakeholders of the project. And it's important to discuss the format of which feedback is given to the stakeholders as well. So then also touching base and staying frequent with questions and keeping in contact with the stakeholders and encourages that strong relationship of trust and stability that the stakeholders look for when supporting the project and the project team and project managers. So you also want to see their concerns ahead of time. And so this all removes room for misinformation. So keeping up to date with information. It's important because it gets the project the resources it needs to complete. So stakeholder theory is the notion that with successful stakeholder management, any project or whatever entity will forever have a competitive advantage in what it needs to survive and be viewed as responsible and trustworthy because it satisfies stakeholders' interests. According to Samuel Gregg, director of the Center of Economic Personalism at the Acton Institute of the USA, the stakeholder theory reflects a desire on the part of many for business corporations to change their modus operandi, basically status quo, and make certain objectives as fundamental to the corporation's purpose as the objective of delivering value to the owners of corporations, the shareholders. So it's changed from back in the day because back then it was like an A to B, seller to consumer type of environment. Now there are individuals who invest in operations, products, and projects, and they must be considered for optimal project output. And so that is stakeholder theory, and that is why stakeholder management has become so popular now. And so organizations perform successful stakeholder management when everyone's on the same page, when communication is funneling correctly and appropriately, when communication is frequent, and when they know their stakeholders. So you get stakeholders on your side, you get the support and resources you need when you are credible, when you're trustworthy, and when you show results. So getting your stakeholders to know you as a person allows them to invest in the project and what you have to say and trust what you have to say. As a project manager, you're faced with challenges in terms of cost, time, schedule, and constraints. So you do need that stakeholder support to survive and have competitive advantage these days. And good and bad news does occur throughout the whole project. A good project manager knows how to appropriately deliver bad news. So PMs, project managers, don't enjoy it when something goes wrong, but it is important that they understand who's affected by it. They assess the facts of the flaw or the occurrence of something bad, and they just give it to the stakeholders straight. They also come with solutions and suggestions on how to move forward, showing that they're working with the stakeholder in this and they really are invested in the project equally. They also act timely and they give it to the stakeholder personally. They come as honest as possible And these are just some things that really strengthen the relationship between stakeholder and project manager and ensures that the project completes its deliverables and satisfies the stakeholders' interests. Thank you.